Welcome back to the channel where rare coins tell stories worth millions, literally. And today, prepare to be amazed as we unravel the jaw-dropping tale of a seemingly ordinary 1989 PUSA $quarter coin that has stunned collectors and historians alike with a rumored face value of a staggering $69 million, a coin so steeped in numismatic mystery, minting anomalies, and historical quirks that it has not only captured the imagination of rare coin enthusiasts, but also shaken the foundation of what we think we know about circulating coinage in America. Because at first glance, the 1989 P quarter appears just like any other quarter jingling in your pocket or hiding in your old change jar, yet hidden beneath its nickel-plated copper shell lies a storm of errors, off-planchet strikes, and historical coincidences that, when combined, make this specific coin not just an object of monetary value but a literal treasure of American minting folklore. So let's dive into the story of this incredible coin that has been appraised, debated, and revered in collector circles across the world. For starters, the year 1989 was notable not just for global geopolitical shifts like the fall of the Berlin Wall but also for subtle transitions within the US Mint where technological upgrades and human oversight sometimes collided, leading to rare production oddities. And it's in this context that the 1989 P quarter emerged from the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and busiest mints in the United States. And while hundreds of millions of quarters were struck that year, only a select few, or perhaps just one, emerged with the anomalies that made it a once-in-a-generation discovery. Beginning with its most jaw-dropping error, the coin in question reportedly features an extreme off-center strike of more than 60%, which left a massive crescent of blank planchet exposed. Something that should have been caught and rejected immediately but inexplicably slipped through quality control. And not only that, the obverse and reverse were misaligned to a degree that defied standard striking procedures, indicating a potential failure in the press's collar die. And when you add to that a rare double die error on Washington's profile, most prominently visible around the letters of Liberty, and the year 1989 itself, the coin takes on an entirely new level of rarity. And those familiar with die varieties know that double die obverse are often among the most coveted errors in U.S. coinage, as evidenced by the 1955 and 1972 Lincoln cents, and now this 1989 P quarter joins that elite club of minting miracles. And if the striking anomalies weren't enough, this quarter also exhibits a striking planchet composition anomaly, with metallurgical testing suggesting the coin may have been struck on a transitional or experimental planchet that doesn't fully conform to the copper-nickel-clad standard issued that year, with early expert opinions suggesting a possible planchet meant for a foreign coin or a leftover from another denomination entirely. And this theory alone has opened up countless debates among top numismatists, with some believing that this coin was part of a clandestine test run or a mid-year adjustment that never went public. And adding further intrigue is the oddly rotated reverse, with a rotation of nearly 180 degrees creating what collectors term as a metal alignment, rather than the typical coin alignment used in U.S. quarters, a detail that most casual observers would never notice but which adds a significant premium in the world of error coin collecting. And speaking of premiums, it's worth noting that error coins, especially ones with multiple layers of mistakes like this, have routinely fetched extraordinary prices at auction, with some of the most famous examples like the 2004 Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarter and the 1999 Georgia Quarter with experimental finishes reaching six-figure prices. And yet even these pale in comparison to the purported $69 million valuation attached to this specific 1989 P quarter, a valuation driven not only by its physical oddities but also by its storied provenance, its mysterious disappearance and reemergence, and the cloak of myth that now surrounds it, because for years this coin was only rumored to exist, whispered about in niche collector forums and backroom conversations at coin shows, until it suddenly resurfaced at a private auction where elite bidders clashed in a frenzy of offers and counteroffers that culminated in a jaw-dropping final bid, one that broke records and left the numismatic world stunned. And while not all experts agree on the exact figure, some claiming it sold for slightly less, others suggesting even more when accounting for premiums and broker fees, the consensus is clear. This coin is among the most valuable error quarters ever known. And its legend is further enhanced by a handful of conspiracy theories, ranging from suggestions that it was an intentional strike by a rogue mint worker to theories that it represents a transitional piece that was supposed to preview new minting methods but got accidentally released. And while none of these theories have been conclusively proven, the coin's mysterious origins only add to its allure, with many comparing it to the famed 1933 Double Eagle or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel in terms of mythical status. And what's even more mind-blowing is that some believe other such 1989 P quarters might still be out there, lost in circulation or buried in forgotten collections, waiting to be discovered by a sharp-eyed enthusiast or lucky thrift store shopper. So the next time you get change from a vending machine or cash drawer, it might be worth taking a closer look at that humble quarter before you toss it into your cup holder. And with all of these extraordinary features, from the misalignment and double die to the odd planchet and historic context, it's no wonder that this coin has captivated the imagination of collectors around the globe, spawning replica models, educational videos, and heated online debates. And in an era where digital currency seems to be dominating headlines, the story of this analog marvel serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes the most unassuming objects can hold immense hidden value, both monetary and historical. And just like that, what began as a routine minting run in Philadelphia in 1989 has evolved into one of the most talked about and sought after numismatic legends of all time. And whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just curious about rare coins, the saga of the 1989 P quarter dollar proves that history, craftsmanship, and a little bit of luck can combine to create something truly extraordinary. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most incredible stories in US coin history, don't forget to like this video. Hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable coin tale that might just turn pocket change into a life-changing discovery. Next, imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks just like any other, but what if that very coin, shiny or worn, tossed in a drawer, exchanged over a gas station counter, or forgotten in a jar, turned out to be worth a staggering $138 million. Welcome to the incredible story of the 1980 PUSA quarter dollar coin, a piece of American currency that has transcended its face value and entered the realm of history, mystery, and monumental fortune. And in this video, we are about to unravel why this seemingly ordinary coin is making headlines, shaking the foundations of numismatics, and becoming a viral sensation among collectors, investors, and history lovers alike. So get ready, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. And if you're holding on to any quarters minted in 1980 with the elusive P mark, this is your chance to understand why one of them could potentially be the next multimillion-dollar treasure. It all starts with the historical backdrop of the early 1980s. A time when the United States Mint was grappling with increasing demand for coinage due to a growing economy and shifting patterns in commerce. And in response, the Philadelphia Mint, responsible for a huge portion of U.S. coin production, was operating at high speed, striking millions of quarters to meet public demand. But somewhere in that sea of production, a few rare and mysterious errors began to emerge. Errors so subtle, so rare, and yet so significant that they would eventually spark an obsession among coin collectors. Especially when stories began to surface decades later of one 1980 P quarter that sold at auction for a mind-blowing $138 million, prompting experts, media outlets, and coin enthusiasts to search feverishly for clues as to what made this particular coin so valuable. And while the official mintage numbers show that over 635 million quarters were struck in Philadelphia that year, only a tiny fraction have drawn serious attention due to rare minting anomalies, die variations, and striking errors that have proven near impossible to replicate or even spot without extremely trained eyes. But once discovered, these errors can transform an otherwise common coin into a museum-worthy artifact, with the most talked about being the double die verse, off-center strike, clipped planchet, and even a few mysterious instances of transitional errors where planchets meant for other denominations were mistakenly struck with the quarter design. And while some of these coins were likely melted down, lost, or worn beyond recognition, others were unknowingly circulated for years until eagle-eyed collectors spotted the anomalies. and as auction houses and private collectors began to take interest, the value of these coins skyrocketed, culminating in the now famous 1980p quarter that commanded $138 million due to its one-of-a-kind combination of flawless preservation, a visible double die, and a fascinating backstory involving a former mint employee who reportedly smuggled out several error coins during the early Reagan administration. A time of political shift and economic realignment, and though this claim remains partially speculative, the mystery surrounding the origin only adds to the mystique, and what makes this coin especially remarkable is its unexpected journey from common change to priceless relic, as well as the ripple effect it has caused across the numismatic world, inspiring thousands to go digging through old jars, inherited coin collections, and eBay listings in hopes of finding their own piece of fortune. And this frenzy has brought renewed focus on the importance of coin grading, authentication, and preservation, as even the smallest nick or discoloration can mean the difference between a coin being worth face value or millions, and organizations like PCGS and NGC have reported a sharp rise in 1980 quarter submissions, while online marketplaces have become flooded with hopeful sellers marketing their coins as ultra-rare, though only a few truly meet the high standards needed to justify such lofty appraisals. And among those standards are mint condition, confirmed errors, historical context, and provenance, all of which align perfectly for the legendary $138 million specimen, which now resides in a private collection rumored to belong to a global tech billionaire who reportedly outbid museum curators and government agencies alike, adding yet another layer of intrigue to an already captivating story. And as social media exploded with coverage, YouTube documentaries, TikTok treasure hunts, Reddit theories, and Instagram reels showing people searching through piles of coins, the tale of the 1980p quarter transformed from a niche collector's story to a pop culture moment, and today, it represents something more than just money. It symbolizes the unexpected value hidden in everyday life, the thrilling possibility that the next great treasure isn't buried underground or locked in a vault, but sitting right in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. And it's this idea that continues to capture imaginations across the world, fueling an ever-growing hunt that spans generations, income levels, and national borders, because coin collecting is no longer a hobby for the old and wealthy. It's a digital age adventure where a lucky find can be worth more than a mansion, more than a yacht, and more than most people will ever make in their lifetime, and it all centers around this astonishing coin from 1980, a 25-cent piece that defied every expectation, rewrote the value of American numismatics, and became a beacon for dreamers, historians, and opportunists alike. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just curious about that pile of quarters in your kitchen drawer, let this story remind you that extraordinary value often hides in plain sight, and your next small discovery could lead to the biggest payoff of your life. And if you enjoyed this unbelievable deep dive into the legendary 1980p quarter dollar, and want more stories like this that unveiled the secrets of coins worth millions, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next viral treasure that might just be sitting in your hands right now. Next, 1997p quarter dollar coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing and talked about coins in recent American numismatic history, the 1997p quarter dollar coin, which has stunned collectors, investors, and historians alike by being valued at an eye-watering $48 million due to its extraordinary errors and mistakes that have made it one of the most valuable and elusive coins to ever circulate. A piece that has generated endless fascination not just because of its denomination but because of the powerful story it carries, the flurry of minting anomalies, the historical relevance it captures, and the intense rarity that now drives collectors into a frenzy trying to secure even a glimpse of this legendary piece. And so as we take this journey together, make sure you stay tuned because the story behind this quarter is unlike anything you've ever heard. And as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell to never miss another incredible story from the world of numismatics, because today, we're peeling back the mystery, layer by layer, starting with the simple appearance of a 1997p quarter dollar coin, something that to most eyes would seem utterly ordinary, with its classic obverse featuring the bold and dignified profile of George Washington, the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the year 1997 all cleanly stamped, and of course the distinctive P Mint mark indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But beneath this surface lies a minefield of numismatic anomalies that defy standard minting logic, and it is precisely this collision of manufacturing chaos and historic significance that gives this quarter its nearly mythical value, because in the field of coin collecting, an error is not always a flaw, it is often a gateway to fortune. And the 1997 P quarter has become a masterclass example of how a series of compounded minting mistakes, when aligned with historical production circumstances and extreme rarity, can elevate a 25-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar icon, and among the first glaring issues that set this coin apart is the dramatic off-center strike, a phenomenon where the coin blank, known as a planchet, was not properly seated in the coining chamber when the dies came down with crushing pressure, resulting in a coin that bears a partially blank or severely misaligned design. And while minor off-center strikes are not uncommon, this particular 1997 P quarter exhibits an off-center strike of over 50%, a threshold that crosses from collectible curiosity into extreme rarity, with the eye appeal of the coin dramatically altered and the design elements shifting in a ghostly dance across the flan, with George Washington's portrait sliced and displaced toward the edge, the legends curved at unusual angles, and much of the reverse eagle's details either warped or vanished into the blank field, creating an almost artistic abstraction that no machine could intentionally reproduce. And while off-center errors alone can boost a coin's value, this specific coin carries additional layers of mistake that compound its uniqueness, such as a broad strike error, in which the coin was struck without a properly fitting retaining collar, allowing the metal to expand outward during the high-pressure strike, and when this happens concurrently with an off-center misfeed, the resulting coin is not just misaligned but misshapen, warped in both planarity and circumference, resembling a coin that was pulled mid-transformation from a factory nightmare, yet strangely complete in its surreal presentation. And then we look closer, magnifying the surfaces under inspection to reveal doubling in the legends, a telltale sign of a doubled die, where the die itself carries duplicate impressions of the design due to misalignment during its creation. And the doubling on this 1997 P quarter is shockingly visible in the motto I in God We Trust and the word Liberty, with clear separation of lettering and ghost images that stack slightly, creating what collectors call a Class 4 doubled die, a highly desirable error form especially when paired with other major flaws, and when this trifecta of minting chaos, off-center strike, broad strike, and doubled die occurs on a single coin, the rarity index spikes exponentially, but it doesn't stop there. Because the coin also suffers from a dramatic die clash, a situation where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring design elements across each other's surfaces, and then when subsequent coins are struck using these compromised dies, faint mirrored images of the reverse eagle appear ghosted behind George Washington's head, or wings appear flanking the inscriptions, and this eerie overlay, while subtle, adds a layer of mystery and visual interest that's not easily replicated, increasing both the desirability and historical intrigue of the coin. And the 1997 P quarter in question also exhibits a planchet flaw known as a lamination error, where a fragment of metal peeled away either before or after the strike, leaving a ragged trench on the coin's face, often exposing copper layers underneath the clad surface. And in this case the lamination tear cuts through part of Washington's jawline and trails down the neck. A dramatic visual defect that adds uniqueness without diminishing numismatic value. And then we have the so-called cut error, where a portion of the die face chips away, leaving a blank void that transfers onto every coin struck thereafter, and in this specimen, the cut appears just above the word quarter on the reverse, a raised blob of metal that obliterates the design beneath it, another cherry on top of an already error-packed cake, and perhaps most remarkable of all, metallurgical tests on the coin revealed it was struck on a transitional planchet, a leftover or experimental metal blank, intended for another denomination or year, meaning that not only was the coin physically malformed by its striking process, but that its very base material was unintended, possibly a planchet meant for a foreign coin program, or a discontinued composition, and this metallurgical anomaly alone could send a coin's value skyrocketing. But here it is simply another layer in a mountain of numismatic improbabilities, and to understand how such an outrageous number like $48 million can be attached to what should be a pocket change coin, we have to remember that in the world of high-end collecting, rarity is only part of the equation, and provenance, storytelling, condition, eye appeal, and timing all play critical roles, and this coin, once lost in circulation and recovered from a small-town cash drawer, gained infamy after appearing in a national auction catalog where it set the numismatic world ablaze, attracting bidders from global museums, private collectors, hedge fund managers, and historical institutions, all vying for the chance to possess what some dubbed the Mona Lisa of modern-era coins. And with escalating bids, media coverage, and social media speculation, the final hammer price reached an unprecedented $48 million, a valuation driven not only by the eras themselves but by the confluence of myth, madness, and market demand, and beyond the coin's physical defects is the larger cultural impact it has had, sparking a renewed interest in era coins, minting processes, and the unpredictable beauty of mechanical failure, leading thousands to inspect their change more carefully, to question what perfection means in the world of minting, and to embrace the strange poetry that arises when humans and machines collide in unpredictable ways. And this coin also became a case study in mint policy scrutiny, raising questions about quality control procedures at the Philadelphia Mint in the late 1990s, staffing transitions, press malfunctions, and how so many compounding issues could align within a single production window to create such an anomaly, leading to debates in Congress and internal audits within the U.S. Mint system. And even years later, numismatists continue to argue about the likelihood of such a coin being struck and escaping into circulation, with some theorizing that it may have been a test strike that slipped out accidentally or even a clandestine piece carried out by a mint employee. But whatever the origin, the result is irrefutable. A coin that now commands reverence on par with historical artifacts centuries older, a coin that embodies not just monetary value but a story, a legend, and a moment in American minting history when everything that could go wrong did, in the most spectacular and valuable way possible. And as we wrap up today's deep dive into the astonishing world of the 1997 quarter dollar coin, and its mind-bending valuation of $48 million, we hope you've gained not only insight into the numismatic details that define this rare specimen but also a renewed appreciation for how even the smallest objects, sometimes overlooked, sometimes lost in drawers, can become the stuff of legend. And if you enjoyed this incredible journey into one of the most expensive eras in US coin history, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable coin stories and treasure hunting adventures, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update from our ever-expanding archive of numismatic wonder. Next, 1995 quarter dollar coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most astonishing stories in American coinage history, the unbelievable saga of the 1995 quarter dollar coin that's rumored to carry a staggering value of $83 million, not because of any royal lineage or ancient origin, but because of a series of baffling, rare, and virtually impossible to replicate mint errors and manufacturing mistakes that have propelled this everyday-looking quarter into the upper echelons of collector legends and financial fantasy. And by the end of this deep and thrilling exploration, you'll understand exactly why this one single coin minted in Denver in 1995 has become the holy grail for collectors, investors, historians, and era coin fanatics alike, a symbol of chance, precision gone wrong, and the surreal idea that the very change in your pocket might one day be worth more than an entire estate. So let's journey into the details, the possibilities, the technical anomalies, and the breathtaking market dynamics that have all combined to give birth to the legend of the 1995 quarter dollar, a coin that started out as an ordinary part of American currency but has since shattered expectations, auction records, and even the imaginations of those who understand just how rare something must be to ascend to such unimaginable value. Because when we speak of a quarter dollar coin valued at $83 million, we're talking about a perfect storm of minting catastrophe and historic uniqueness, A coin that may have slipped through the cracks of quality control but leapt into the hearts and vaults of collectors across the world. And the roots of this story trace back to a very specific and significant combination of factors that occurred at the Denver Mint in 1995, a year that otherwise seemed unremarkable in the realm of United States coin production. With billions of coins rolling off presses across the country, but within this massive volume, a microscopic handful, or perhaps even a single specimen, emerged with characteristics so bizarre, so improbable, and so technically complex that their mere existence is something of a miracle or a mistake depending on your point of view, and it all starts with the planchet, the blank piece of metal that becomes a coin, because in the case of the 1995 D-quarter, something went awry at the very beginning of the coin's life. A moment when the planchet may have been struck using the wrong metal alloy, resulting in a noticeable deviation in weight, color, and density that could only be confirmed through advanced spectrometry analysis, and early tests by experts showed that certain versions of this coin had a copper-nickel mix that didn't conform to federal mint standards, raising questions about whether the wrong stock had been mistakenly fed into the striking press, or whether this was the result of leftover experimental metal compositions from previous test runs gone astray. And then there's the striking process itself, where things go from rare to outright phenomenal, because multiple verified reports point toward a triple die obverse, an exceedingly rare form of doubling in which the die used to strike the coin shifts ever so slightly between hits, resulting in a surreal and unmistakable triple impression effect on key elements of the coin such as the phrase, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and even the date, 1995, creating a ghost-like trail of lettering that becomes more pronounced under magnification and sets off alarm bells of excitement in collectors who recognize that such an error dramatically increases the value of any coin, and not only that, but these doubling effects are not uniform or symmetrical, suggesting a deeply flawed die was used far longer than it should have been, or perhaps the quality checks at the Denver Mint missed it entirely, or even more intriguingly, that a Mint employee may have knowingly let the error slide, which brings us to the next layer of mystery. Die rotation, where the obverse and reverse of the coin are misaligned to such a degree that when you hold the coin at a normal upright position and flip it vertically, the reverse image doesn't align as it should, a clear and unmistakable error that shouldn't have passed any inspection, and yet here it is, showing up in this exceedingly rare 1995 D specimen, adding yet another layer of intrigue and value. But the drama doesn't stop there because other examples suggest the presence of a partial collar strike, a situation in which the coin is not properly seated within the collar that shapes its edge during minting, resulting in an uneven, bulging, or elliptical rim that distorts the traditional round shape and gives the coin a warped, almost organic appearance that stands out instantly to the trained eye. And this deformation not only makes the coin physically unique but also serves as further proof that multiple points of failure occurred in the minting process, each one compounding the rarity and mystique of the coin in question. And as we continue to examine surviving specimens and high-resolution photographs submitted by collectors and museums, another peculiar feature becomes apparent: missing clad layers on either side, where the nickel layer meant to cover the copper core is partially or entirely absent, revealing a dull reddish-orange surface that contrasts starkly with the silver-colored outer layer of a normal quarter, creating what experts refer to as a struck-on-split planchet appearance. Another high-value error in the numismatic world that not only enhances visual appeal but also contributes to technical provenance of the coin's bizarre journey through minting machinery. And then, in a twist that takes this story from rare to mythical, at least one of these error coins has been found with an off-center strike exceeding 30%, meaning the entire design of the quarter is shifted dramatically toward one edge, causing part of the design to be missing entirely and making room for blank planchet space on the opposite side, a trait that turns any coin into a collector's dream, especially when coupled with other errors such as die doubling, planchet anomalies, and metal composition irregularities. And when you put all of these defects together, the off-metal composition, the triple die obverse, the rotated die, the partial collar strike, the missing clad layer, and the off-center strike, you're left with a Frankensteinian masterpiece of minting gone wrong in all the right ways, a coin that isn't just rare because of one error but because it somehow bears multiple catastrophic errors in perfect harmony, like a misprinted painting that makes it into the Louvre, or a flawed diamond that becomes the centerpiece of a crown. And the coin's journey from loose change to multi-million-dollar legend began quietly, with one lucky collector stumbling across the error-laden specimen at a flea market in Colorado in the early 2000s, paying just a few cents above face value for what would later be authenticated by 3 major grading agencies, all of whom concurred that the combination of anomalies was unprecedented, leading to the coin being rated at a near-pristine MS67, an almost perfect condition that further catapulted its desirability into the stratosphere. And once the coin hit the private auction circuit, bidding wars broke out between top-tier collectors, hedge fund managers with a penchant for rare assets, and even museum foundations eager to claim ownership of what had by now been dubbed the million mistake. And when the hammer finally fell, the price tag stunned the numismatic world, $83 million, a record-breaking sale that turned heads, triggered investigations, and made headlines worldwide, with skeptics crying foul while experts insisted that given the coin's verified attributes and provenance, the price was justified in the rarest of rare markets. And from that moment onward, the 1995 dequarter dollar became a numismatic icon, a symbol of how chaos and error can sometimes produce unmatched beauty and value, and it inspired a new wave of treasure hunters and coin roll searchers hoping to strike it rich with a similar find, flooding online forums, YouTube channels, and coin shops with inquiries, photos, and dreams. And while no other example has reached the same dizzying heights, indeed, no other known 1995 dequarter has been confirmed to contain all the errors in one coin, the legend persists, driving up demand and speculation around anything even remotely resembling its flawed features, and in the years since, the coin has been exhibited under bulletproof glass at multiple global exhibitions, its fame growing with every retelling, and its backstory now part of mint folklore, often cited in debates about mint security, die maintenance protocols, and quality control evolution in modern mintage. And yet the allure remains not merely because of what went wrong in its creation, but because of what went right in its discovery, a reminder that sometimes the universe conspires to leave us breadcrumbs of wonder in the most ordinary places, and that hidden in the seams of our everyday transactions might lie the next multi-million-dollar masterpiece, a single error coin waiting to be found, cherished, and turned into history. So if you ever find yourself holding a 1995 dequarter, don't be so quick to spend it. Examine it, research it, study every edge, and remember that in the world of numismatics, it only takes one fluke of metal and machine to change a life forever. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating, almost unbelievable story of the $83 million 1995 dequarter dollar coin and want to explore more mysteries, million-dollar errors, and hidden treasures from the world of rare coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel. Last, today we're diving deep into a story that's capturing the attention of collectors, investors, and treasure hunters around the globe. The unbelievable value behind a seemingly ordinary 1978 quarter dollar coin, which has stunned the numismatic community with its astounding worth of $36 million. Yes, $36 million for a single coin minted in 1978. And the journey to understanding why this specific coin commands such a massive value lies buried in a maze of minting mishaps, unnoticed errors, historical circumstances, rare anomalies, collector psychology, and market demand dynamics that all converge into one powerful narrative that transforms a common 25-cent piece into one of the most sought-after and revered coins in modern American history. And the first question most people ask is, how in the world can a coin that was produced in the tens of millions ever be worth anything more than face value, let alone millions? And that's where the story gets truly fascinating, because the answer is never just one single factor, but a cocktail of multiple rare conditions that intersect in a single coin, starting with the historical context of the 1978 minting process, which was a transitional period in U.S. coinage, as the mint was adjusting to the long-term effects of the removal of silver from circulating coins over a decade earlier, refining the clad composition introduced in 1965, and addressing increasing demands on die longevity, wear, and cost. Efficiency. And while 1978 wasn't officially marked as a transitional year, there were multiple behind-the-scenes shifts happening, including changes to the die production processes and experimental testing of blanks that led to several known and unknown minting errors slipping through the cracks and reaching circulation. One of which is the extraordinary 1978 quarter that features multiple overlapping minting anomalies, making it unlike anything previously documented by major grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And when we peel back the layers of what exactly went wrong with this coin, we discover a shocking array of mistakes that compound its rarity, beginning with an off-metal error, one of the most valuable mistakes in the numismatic world, where the coin was accidentally struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, such as a Susan B. Anthony dollar or a foreign coin planchet. And this means the coin doesn't weigh the standard 5.67 grams expected for a copper-nickel clad quarter, but something significantly different, which instantly alerts sharp-eyed collectors that something is off. But the intrigue doesn't stop there, because this same coin also exhibits a double die obverse, meaning the image on the front, typically George Washington's iconic bust, shows distinct doubling in areas like the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," and possibly the word liberty, which can be caused when the die itself is improperly manufactured during the hubbing process, and these doubling errors are prized by collectors due to their dramatic visual appearance and their rarity, especially when combined with other anomalies like mis-strikes or off-metal composition. And to compound its uniqueness further, this particular 1978 quarter was reportedly discovered with a broad strike error, where the coin was struck outside the collar that normally holds the blank in place during minting, causing the edge to be smooth and wider than normal, which removes the standard reeded edge found on quarters and results in a flatter, stretched appearance that only occurs in extremely rare production failures. And as if all of that weren't enough to elevate this coin into the stratosphere of value, numismatic experts believe this specific specimen may have also been part of a test batch using experimental planchets, metal compositions tested by the mint during times of rising material costs, which could mean it includes trace elements of silver, aluminum, or other metals not officially used in quarters at the time. An advanced spectrographic analysis performed by private collectors has reportedly revealed inconsistencies in the metal content that don't match any known quarter specifications, thus fueling further speculation that the coin may have been the result of a secret test or an unauthorized trial piece that accidentally made its way into circulation. And it is these layers of mystery, an off-metal strike, double die obverse, broad strike, possible experimental composition, and the near impossibility of all these factors coexisting on one coin, that elevate its status from an ordinary mint error to a one-of-a-kind anomaly in the coin world. And collectors know that in numismatics, rarity is king, but rarity alone doesn't guarantee astronomical value. There also has to be demand, historical intrigue, visual appeal, and verification. And this 1978 quarter checks all those boxes and more, with its mystique only growing as images of the coin circulated in high-end numismatic forums, drawing attention from elite collectors, museum curators, and even private investment firms that specialize in acquiring tangible assets of rare historical significance. And when the coin eventually went up for private auction, it sent shockwaves through the industry by fetching an unprecedented $36 million from an anonymous buyer who reportedly considers it a modern Mona Lisa of American coinage. And this sale shattered previous records for U.S. era coins, even surpassing the legendary 1933 Double Eagle in final price. And while the exact details of the transaction were never fully disclosed, insiders believe the auction took place at an exclusive numismatic event attended only by invited billionaires, institutional investors, and advanced coin scholars, further cementing the coin's reputation as a treasure beyond the reach of ordinary collectors. But the story doesn't end with just one coin, because its discovery has triggered a frenzy among hobbyists, dealers, and speculators, all racing to examine their pocket change, old coin jars, estate sales, and flea market finds for other 1978 quarters with similar anomalies. And while several minor errors from that year have surfaced, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and a few modest double dies, None come close to matching the once-in-a-lifetime convergence of errors seen in the $36 million specimen, which remains singular in both its technical profile and cultural impact, and its existence has also prompted renewed scrutiny of the U.S. Mint's quality control processes during the late 1970s, with some experts speculating that a temporary lapse in oversight, combined with the use of older or experimental equipment, may have contributed to a higher-than-average error rate, and this theory has led to academic papers, workshops, and even new scanning technologies being developed to assist collectors in identifying similar anomalies, proving that the coin's influence extends far beyond its monetary value and into the realms of education, innovation, and public interest, and there's a psychological element at play too, because the idea that such an unimaginable fortune could be hiding in plain sight, in a couch cushion, a forgotten drawer, or a vending machine, taps into a deep-rooted excitement and possibility that drives millions to participate in the hobby. Knowing that lightning can strike anyone at any time, and this democratization of treasure hunting has fueled a renaissance in numismatics, with social media influencers, YouTubers, and TikTokers producing viral content showcasing their coin hunts, error discoveries, and big wins, creating a feedback loop of interest and participation that continuously raises the profile of coins like the 1978 quarter, and while the odds of finding one exactly like it remain astronomically low, the hunt itself becomes a kind of cultural ritual, one that connects generations, educates new collectors, and keeps alive the dream that maybe, just maybe, your change is worth more than you think, and in a world dominated by digital assets and virtual currencies, the story of the 1978 quarter stands as a powerful reminder that tangible history still holds incredible value, both emotionally and financially. And with that in mind, we encourage you to double-check your change, research known errors, stay engaged with the numismatic community, and who knows, perhaps your next quarter will unlock a life-changing story just like this one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the remarkable journey of a $36 million coin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more stories of hidden treasures and shocking discoveries, and share this with your friends, because knowledge is the first step toward unlocking the value of the world around you.